God for all the honest hearts here, and I want this to come from a place of love, and I promise you I will end with a message of hope. And last year there was a lot of tears. Last summer, a lot of tears, and then this last year, went to work, and ultimately it was a band-aid, I think, but tried to get to a point where there was an independent safety line, and we know where that went, and got turned down, and it's probably a lot of the reason why many are not here. And I just want to leave a little perspective, maybe, as we think about caring for the scattered sheep. There's a lot of distrust of the leadership, of the overseer tradition and the super overseer tradition. There's a lot of distrust, and it's been laid out for us to examine, and decades and decades. And so that represented a swing to the other side that might have been some comfort, and I think that's a big part of why we're at where we're at. There's things to look at. I think there's an information asymmetry with what people know and understand about what's been exposed, and Wings for Truth came out, and it put it out there for anyone to look at, and some would disagree with it, and I'm sure there's some inaccuracies, but there's a lot of things to confront. And I think we have to try the spirits, and when you have that as some of the perspective, that's what we're dealing with. And how do we move forward with trust? And for me, during that time, was reading Hebrews again and again. There's no high priest. We have a direct connection to God, and I believe that more than ever. A system or tradition in between us and God, we don't. And I'm glad for that, and it was amazing to go through that. I've been able to travel and see the ministry go forth in other places where there aren't established groups of friends, and it's beautiful, and it's matches up with what you read in the New Testament scriptures, and it's amazing. But I think what we're dealing with now here is really covered in the New Testament scripture. It's we have a situation where there's more.
Can I interrupt a little, please? Just a little. This is not the place for all that, please. It's not the place for it, please.
I will wrap it up. I have hope at the end. And
Will you be long, please?
I will end in 2 minutes.
Good, thank you.
And so, basically, here it's reestablished, and it's hard when you get in a situation where you have people that the ministers stay within the fellowship, just the bubbles, and they don't know how to interact and engage. By and large, it's generalization with the publicans and sinners, and it can reinforce self-righteousness and pride. And that's a broad brush, but I just pray for evangelizing and caring for the scattered sheep and reaching out. I've been praying about that. At the root of that, all of this, I think, is this belief that we're right and others are wrong. If you go to Galatians 5:20, it says, in 19 and 20, it says, when you follow the desires of your sinful nature, your lives will produce these evil results. The feeling that everyone is wrong except those in your own little group. And that's in the New Living Translation, and I know people are going to have opinions about what that is, but that's there. If we could only just look out and show love and care. And I've been doing it for 10 years and coexisting, and it's freeing to not have that judgment. And I hope we can go out and look at that church and say there's probably an honest soul or two there, and they probably have a lot of burdens and traditions, but hopefully they're trying to follow Jesus. And maybe one day I'll be able to share that fellowship with them and have that light in my heart, and then go forward and share. And I just pray for these things, and I'm sorry for all the offenses, but it came from an honest place.
Thank you. We have a little time yet, thanks, and please try and keep it a bit brief, because I'd like to have a shot too.